Everything from questions about cucumbers to homes on cul-de-sacs. You've come to the right place. Welcome to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show with Stan DeFreitas, the dad, and James DeFreitas, the son. For the next hour, call in with your questions in gardening, growing your favorite veggies, and growing your profits in real estate. Locally, call 813-289-1860. Toll free 877-969-8600. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And I am Stan DeFreitas, the dad, and you are?
And I'm James DeFreitas, the son.
And we're here to help you. If you've got questions, well, real estate, of course, plants. My first background is I'm a horticulturist and worked for 8 years as an extension horticulturist. Also wrote a gardening book for Florida, which is number 10 in gardening book history. We've sold, I guess, 300,000 or 400,000 copies. I'm not sure what the last.
And counting.
And counting still. And in fact, I need to bring some to one of our fellow realtors down at Remax Metro because she said, hey, we're going to use it as a premium when someone buys the home. Sure. She'll make sure that they...
So kind of like a gift for a house?
Gift for the house.
If they sell it?
And especially if they like plants.
Sure.
You know, and a lot of folks do. I mean, I think there's an inherent thing that we like plants or we should like plants. And second hour, we're going to be talking with someone about indoor plants.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're going to have Steve Stanford with plants, and that's plantz.us. One of the things that's really neat that Steve's going to educate us on is his process. And, one of the things that they do that I think is really interesting is that that he has two sections of his business. One where they go in and they do plant rentals for hotels and very prestigious locations where they want to have some flora and fauna and stuff that makes it look nice. They take care of it. And, it's one of these things where if you are into plants and you understand the maintenance involved in that, in the hotel industry and in certain locations, malls, businesses, they're busy out trying to do what they know best. And it's best to leave it to the professionals like Steve and plants.
Sure. If you've got philodendrons or pothos or aglaonemas or spathiphyllums or diffambachias, all of those plants that can be used indoors. And, of course, he even has, as you said, a neat operation where they take that plant, they put it into a container, they know how to pack it, and they'll send them off to New York City. And you're thinking, well, isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, I know he's going to want to talk a little bit about that, too, as far as his plants by mail service that they operate with. And, so that's just tremendous. So that'll be coming up in the second hour. And so we'll look forward to having Steve with us at 8:05 a.m. So set your watches.
So what are the numbers if they want to call in with their question now?
Sure. Anybody who wants to call in our live radio show, again, we're here every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. You can reach us, and that'll be at 813-289-1860, or if you'd like to call toll-free, that's 877-969-8600.
And if you want to, I had someone call me last week and said, hey, are you ready to start doing when we book garden club talks? Will you be, available for that? And I said, sure, we'll be able to do that. Of course, I'll mix in a little bit of real estate with it and maybe some auction part of it. So you'll get a bit of a smattering there. But we want folks to know that that's something that'll be coming up. Hopefully, I don't know about you, but I'm hoping we can get past this COVID-19 sometime in the near future. As much as I love the plexiglass in here for our protection, I would love to see it gone.
Sure.
And I know, and there again, I want to be safe. I want to be COVID compliant.
Sure.
But I'd love to get rid of it. I want to get back to our old lives when we didn't have to wear, cowboy masks every time you went anywhere.
Yeah, and in the real estate business in general, I mean, one of the things that we've all had to default to, I mean, almost all real estate agents, is you have to kind of default to whatever your client is most comfortable with. So you're having to sit back and say, hey, Mr. Seller or Mr. Buyer, do you want me wearing gloves? Do you want me to wear masks? How do you want me to do it? How do you want me to handle showings? One of the things that we had that you and I both experienced was, we had somebody call us up and said, well, I'd like to sell my house. I don't want anybody to come in the house. I don't want to have any open houses, and I don't want any private showings. And you could drive them by.
I was going to say, they can kind of wave at the window.
Yeah. And I got to say, I mean, that's and I'm looking at this ask an attorney thing on the mic there. That'd be kind of like asking your attorney, look, I don't want you communicating with the other side. I don't want you taking this to court, but I want you to settle this via osmosis. And, it'd be pretty tough. It's a tough proposition. And I would say the other thing with most agents today is a big round of applause for them, because they have really just gone and bent over backwards trying to make it to where, that they still conduct business as best they can. And one of the things that I think is commendable is many of the successful agents have been very good at still getting things closed.
Sure.
And this is, unprecedented times in terms of how we approach things. And so kudos to the agents out there that are getting things closed. A little bit different for us. The auction environment's a little different. We were kind of set up for getting things closed with having people involved and having active bidder participation. But that's one of the reasons that we sat back and created the hybrid auctions.
Sure.
So that people could go to aflre.com and they can go and learn about the hybrid auction process, which is, and again, that's a cute way of saying, hey, we have a platform here that you may have heard of. It's called Zoom. You may have attended a few of these type of.
I bet most people have probably.
You
now.
may have attended a few of these meetings in the last couple of months, but we got to thinking, and I think we both had the same thought: is, hey, look, if we're attending these meetings via Zoom like we have to be good participants for our company and to take in the information that our company has, then why can't people bid via the Zoom platform? Well, it's not that hard. I mean, we can assign them a digital bidder paddle. Mm-hmm. And they can hold up a paddle, and we can see the number, and we can actively call out the bid as we see it, just like we would if they were in there with us live. So what a neat way to do it. It doesn't cost anything extra other than we do secure $100 credit card charge on the website. And but again, if as long as you are not the winner, and actually even if you are the winner, we refund that entirely. So we don't want to commingle funds. But basically, the reason we're charging $100 registration fee,
hold the place.
Yeah, we're holding your place. And the other thing that we're doing is we're trying to eliminate tire kickers. There's a lot of people that pretend that they want to buy something, or they're interested in the process. But for us, we really have to, for the seller, to protect our sellers, we have to make sure that we're getting people that are serious. And I find that if you're willing to put even $100 down, that separates you from just people that want to watch.
Well, that's true. And we'll have an office where people can actually come down and see it.
Yeah.
We're thinking we're going to have, 12,000 square feet
office?
It's
a massive office down there at Remax Metro down in downtown St. Pete at 2nd and 2nd, which is basically the same area you would go if you're going to the pier parking. I guess you're calling it the sundial. I keep calling it. I still think of the inverted St. Pete pier down there, but that's me and my time.
Or in my case, the $1 Million Pier, which was there before.
The $1 Million Pier, yeah.
You didn't live until you knew the $1 Million Pier. That was...
was it a whole $1 million?
Well, and back then, before my time even, let's say the generation before me, $1 Million Pier was something...
Yeah,
big.
And that's the weird thing, is that we become kind of inundated with dollars, in terms of it. I mean, so back in your day, $1 million was a huge amount of money.
That sounded big. At least to the generation probably before me, it sounded even really big.
Right, yeah. But now we hear about all these billionaires out there, and it's like, well, okay, yeah, that's a lot of money. But once you get to a certain number of zeros, I don't know if the human mind can really put it together as to how big that is.
I mean, now we're talking about maybe the first trillionaire coming up.
Yeah. I read an article recently. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's with Jeff Bezos. It was, I want to say it was in Fortune magazine or one of these type of publications. Don't quote me on that. But it was one of these, credible magazine, if we have anything that's credible / magazine these days. But anyways.
Tampa Bay Magazine will say that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that we will definitely say. But one of the things they had said is that if the stock market continues at its current pace, that Jeff Bezos by 2026 will be the first trillionaire.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and I can't either. And it's and I'm not even gonna mention all of the armada of staff that probably work in horrible conditions and vans and everything out there that make that $1 trillion possible. No offense to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably listening as we speak.
Oh,
going,
I
those
know
guys
he
talking
is.
About us.
The mighty 8:60 a.m. Oh, he set the alarm.
Well, it's the answer. You don't know. I've heard that it has been reported.
Yeah, no, I'm sure
that he is a big fan of our show.
Of course, yeah, and I know.
If that be true, that is possible.
Yeah, if true. The standards of other news stations out there, we won't name names, CNN. If true, you can say almost anything.
If true, that's like maybe it could be true, maybe not true, but we don't know. But we'll say it.
Can you imagine Walter Cronkite in your day?
Yeah.
If him getting up to going on television going, if true, can you imagine if the standards today?
This is Walter Cronkite today. If true.
If true. Can you imagine him even saying that?
I can't imagine. No,
it's just crazy. The times we're in now, it's just crazy.
I can hear it now. This is Roger P. Shulman, and if true.
And if true.
I know. It's funny. I have people come up to me sometimes and go, hey, say hey to Roger for you when you see him in the hallway. And I say, well, I don't think Roger's getting up that early on Sunday morning on a regular basis, but I expect him.
If true.
But anyway, Roger should know that I've had a number of people say hello to him, and I said, well, when I see Roger P. Shulman
legendary
next time,
newsman,
I will say hey to him for you. So anyway, we pass that along. Yeah, I can hear that from news people now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of hoping that times will kind of get back to something that looks a little bit more like what we're used to. But if you're up at this hour and you want to give us a call on this live call-in radio show, if you've got gardening questions and or real estate questions, you can give us a call at 813-289-1860 or toll free 877-969-8600.
And you stay with us as the Plant Talk Real Estate Talk continues here on AM 860, The Answer.
Hi, Darcy the cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. Every time you buy a bag of Black Cow, you're helping the environment. Our process helps to repurpose manure so it is environmentally friendly and beneficial for your garden and lawn. Black Cow contains up to 10 times more nutrients and microbes than garden soils. Oh yeah, and it helps to retain moisture too. Your lawn, flower beds, and vegetable gardens will be off to a great start with Black Cow. Everything grows better with sun, water, and Black Cow. Oh yeah, for details, check out our website, at blackcow.com.
Black Cow, the mature manure, Black Cow.
Have you ever thought about auctioning your home?
And 30, 1 bid and 2 and 2 bid and 3 and 3 bid and 4 and 4 bid and 5 bid and 2 9 bid and 6 on 2 9 bid and 7.
Remax Metro encourages you to auction your Florida real estate. Please go to aflre.com. That's A for auction, FL for Florida, and RE for real estate. We achieve full market value for your home. Tired of paying real estate commissions? How about 0% commission for sellers? That's right, sellers pay 0% commission. Again, go aflre.com. That's Auction Florida Real Estate. That's aflre.com.
Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show. Got questions about perennial problems with flowers? What about issues with closing on your newest property? Call now, 813-289-1860. Toll free, 877-969-8600. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And a big good morning to you. We are here, of course, to answer some of your questions. If you've got something going right or wrong, maybe with a tree, lawn, whatever it may be. I'm going out later today to pull some injections out of a tree that I put in. Tree had probably hit by lightning. I put some nutrient ones in, which may be as important as anything else, some pesticide, and trying to give the borers their last supper because it had some borer activity. And we said, John Paul Ringo and the boys, without FA, we can't do rock and roll like we used to. Not those beetles, the beetles that get into your trees. And if you're seeing sawdust, you're seeing holes in the tree, maybe small little holes like BBs, especially in pines, but in oaks often you'll get a nice good size hole you could put your little finger into, and that can be a problem. So
Sure.
Cutting them back, getting rid of them will be helpful. And what's the number they can call if they want to get me?
Sure. Yeah, that's another thing that people need to remember is that, people have problems with their trees and stuff, is that, you're kind of the plant doctor that makes house calls, and they can go out and get you at 727-423-4794. So 727-423-4794.
Ah, what a great way to do that. Yeah, when I first started in radio, I guess almost 40 years ago now, they went, make sure you get the numbers out at least twice. And I go, okay, all right.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, half the time when you're calling in and you got a problem with your bank or something, it seems like they're always asking you, let me get that date of birth, let me get this, let me get that. And then if you say it too quickly, you're doing everything all over again. So, it's good to be clear and concise, or at least say it twice, and then maybe they'll understand what you said once.
Actually, and it's funny, when I was a kid and you went to the doctors, no one asked you your birth date. Now, the first thing they do besides your name is your birth date, and that's who you are to the program, I guess.
I don't think they had, I don't even know when HIPAA started, but I don't think HIPAA was a thing when you were a kid.
No, it wasn't.
After a billion more lawsuits came through, then HIPAA became a thing.
You paid.
And I have to say, I mean, you bring up an interesting point. Part of the reason that we have the reaction that we're having to COVID-19, part of the reason we have the reaction that we have to having to give our date of birth out when we go to the doctor's office is, let's all remember, and it's not to denigrate lawyers, because we do need them when we need them, but remember, we're doing a lot of this because of lawyers, and it's because lawyers were successful. They got paid out claims. And so all of a sudden, people have to turn around and they have to institute policies that they think are going to better protect their business. So my thought to this is if lawyers got us into this mess, maybe some lawyers out there could get us out of this mess.
Don't count on that.
Don't count on it, right? Yeah. No, I know. But I'm just saying, I'm throwing that out to the young lawyers that are still aren't jaded to the world yet. So maybe some young Stetson grads out there could figure out how to come up with the proper releases and stuff so that we don't have to invest in more plexiglass and other contraptions that maybe are dubious at protecting us at best.
It seemed like you could go in and sign a release saying, hey, I'm totally... I'm not worried about COVID-19.
I think the companies have thought of this. I really do. I think the companies have thought of this. I think that they're scared to ask people to sign a release because then there would be an admission that there's a problem.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the answer is to that, but I do know that for all the plexiglass that you're seeing going up in your big box stores and stuff, if you think it's to protect you, it isn't. The companies there are more interested in making sure their employees are protected because the employees are there for an 8-hour shift. They don't care about you as much. They'll never tell you that. They're going to tell you that we're all in this together. But the reality of it is they're more worried about getting sued for the people that work there, because the people that work there can make the statement, hey, I think I got that COVID-19 while working in your store. So I think that's where the motivation is coming from.
Makes sense. Well, if you've got a question about plants, trees, of course, we had Carl Utze was a guest a few weeks ago, and one of our sponsors. And, of course, he's got a great staff. He's got a knowledgeable staff that you then go out and look at your trees. And, of course, I was thinking with the windstorms going through, we haven't had a hurricane come through. But we've had a little bit of wind.
Knock on wood.
And you'll start to see, branches falling out of your tree. The time to catch that is now.
Sure. Yeah. And that's very timely announcement there. And if anybody wants to go and call Carl Utze, you can definitely contact him at utzestreeservice.com. And I would have read his number out, but our slide moved. So
you can always
I can go
back.
I can go back.
Yeah,
I have so it's let's see,
727 323. I think it's
4303. There we go. Sorry, our little the TV monitor was being blocked. So, but anyways, yeah. Yeah, so great guy, great company, and Stan and I couldn't recommend them more as far as being trustworthy and taking care of your problems, and even giving you a plan of, hey, look, let's try to make sure that you're hurricane prepared on your property so as to mitigate any damages that might occur.
And that's a smart plan. So I might say we talked about cucumbers when they first do the opening on the show. My cucumbers kind of bit the dust, but I didn't. It comes to a point. How much do I want to spray on a cucumber that I'm going to eat?
Probably very little.
With a fungicide even. Now fungicides are typically, I use zinc and manganese, which is usually dithane M45, which.
That just sounds delicious. Let me have some ranch dressing and some dithane M45 on the side. That just if that doesn't sound like a little heaping of a problem for later that your oncologist could help with. I'm sure the name sounds terrible. It just doesn't sound like ranch salad dressing to me.
Well, basically, it's zinc and manganese, which are two elements that are, and you may want to
I'll hit that.
And but I was going to say that. I did put in a cherry little small tomatoes. I think it was a Sweet 100s in one of my boxes that I grow in. And some of the others where I have lost some stuff, I'm actually sticking little cuttings of sweet potatoes in now. So that I'm thinking sweet potatoes take a long time, like 140 days. Well, by the fall, I'll have had that time plus, and I'll be ready with sweet potatoes in boxes, where something has died off. Let's say you had a squash in there, you had a cucumber, maybe even a tomato, big fruited tomato where it's kind of finished now, would be a good time to put in, if you get some cuttings, some sweet potatoes, you can put them in there. They'll fill the box, and they're going to fill you with sweet potatoes eventually, which, it's a really healthy vegetable.
Sure, but if they're going to grow sweet potatoes, I mean, you better break out the patience factor, right? I mean, that takes time.
It does take time.
More time than, say, growing, cherry tomatoes or something, right?
Yeah, it's not a 65 or 70-day crop where they're in. They're 140, 160 days or more.
Sure.
And speaking of time,
we'd like to have you spend some of your time with us by giving us a call. If you have any gardening and or real estate questions, give us a call at 813-289-1860 or 877-969-8600.
You can tell all your neighbors and friends. If you know anybody who's into gardening, used to like my old show, Florida Gardening, well, they'll tell them you'll like this show because we're here to help you here on 860.
Thinking of buying a home or refinancing your mortgage? Don't settle for limited loan options. And don't waste your time calling all over town just to compare rates. Skip all the hassle and connect with Matto Mortgage Advisors instead. Matto Mortgage Advisors home loan experts offer a wide variety of mortgage products, and they'll help you compare rates and loan terms in one convenient location. Visit MattoMortgage.com or call 727-202-5626. Matto Mortgage Advisors, NMLS 1744233. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed. Equal housing opportunity.
Have you ever thought about auctioning your home?
30, 1 minute and 2 and 2 minute and 3 and 3 minute and 4 and 4 minute and 5 minute and 2 9 minute and 6 on 2 9 minute and 7
Remax Metro encourages you to auction your Florida real estate. Please go to AFLRE.com. That's A for auction, FL for Florida, and RE for real estate. We achieve full market value for your home. Tired of paying real estate commissions? How about 0% commission for sellers? That's right, sellers pay 0% commission. Again, go AFLRE.com. That's Auction Florida Real Estate. That's AFLRE.com.
Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show. Connect online at AskMrGreenthumb.com. Got questions on gardening, real estate, or both? Call now. 813-289-1860. Toll free, 877-969-8600. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And if you'd like to give us a call, well, we'll answer your questions. And say next hour, coming up actually about 25 minutes, we will have Steve Stanford will be in from plants. So if you've got biophilia, means that you love plants, well, he'll talk about indoor plants and how good they are. There was some research done a few years ago by NASA about how different pollutants and things that can be in your home can be absorbed by the soil and by some of the plants that you have in your home. So when you think it seems healthier in the home that has plants, it's because it is.
Sure. Yeah, I saw Polly Shore's Biodome. So yeah, I'm right on board with that.
Wow, I'm glad to see. I saw him recently. He looked just a little bit different.
Yeah, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast not too long ago, and yeah, he looked pleasantly. No, he looked terrible. To be completely honest, he looked awful. But hard living, I guess, will do that to you, and not being too satisfied with his career, I guess.
Well, he needs more plants in his home to start off.
That's right. He was lacking biophilia.
He was. If he'd had, he was probably into other plants that he shouldn't have been into, probably. And
probably.
Allegedly, and if true, that might have been a problem.
If true.
But we'll tell you what we think is true here. And if you've got questions about your trees, plants, palms, we're here to try to help you.
Sure. And, if you have real estate questions, you can definitely give us a call. We can talk to you a little bit about auctions and how we could potentially help you. And we work with every agency out there. Mm-hmm. We are, with RE/MAX Metro, but we also will help anybody. So if you're at the Coldwell Bankers and you're dissatisfied with your options there, which you could be, you can certainly give us a call. And again, my telephone number is 727-254-7127 if you're interested in talking to me about auctions.
Sure.
And why might somebody be interested in using a real estate auction?
Well, there's a number of reasons that they might be, but let's say you need to get it sold in a hurry. Maybe you're being transferred from here to, I don't know, the new city in Seattle, and you want to get from here to there, so that you say, hey, I need to get this done in 35 to 40 days. I need the auction team to come in and get it done.
So if I wanted to say, if I'm relocating to Chaz, that's where I...
Well, Joe was saying he was thinking of moving there. And we said, no, Joe, we need you too badly here.
Well, I think he was talking about vacationing there, wasn't he?
I think he was. I think
yeah.
He
they
said
have some amazing Airbnb there. It's focus on the air part more than the B&B, but they have some beautiful blue tents and stuff that you can rent.
Well, Joe is going to bring his own tent. So
wow.
Can save.
That's amazing. All right.
He's one of those industrious kind of guys. He's done construction. So you give him some glue and some boxes, and he can build you a little estate.
Well, I hope he can bring us back a postcard from the tourism board over there at Chaz.
Some talk about him running for mayor. And I said, no, Joe, we need you here. You cannot run and be mayor there. And he said, well, politically, it sounded good. He was going to go in there and go, well, this is Joe, and I'd like to tell you that I'd like to be the next mayor of a big city. And I said,
he's letting us know exactly. I'm running for mayor of Chazistan.
Chazistan. Well, he put the Stan on there. You could probably get some money from the UN or somebody that would help, I think, kick in some extra money. But no doubt, what kills me is our country will give money to everybody. You go, I hate you. They go, well, how much money could we sign you up for, pal? So, no, we really do hate you. Well, then you get double.
No, but Stan and I are perfectly happy with people peacefully protesting.
Oh, sure.
And again, I think that the essence of what they're trying to fight for is they have a good reason behind it. I just always encourage peaceful protesting. I think the Dr. King had it right in the civil rights movement, and look how long that message has lasted. And
sure.
So peaceful protesting, I think, is the way to go.
I'm 100% behind you. But if you do have a question, someone might come in and say, look, okay, we'd like to use the auction department. We need something. Maybe you're an agent. The best part of an agent is we make sure the agent gets their commission.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, too, is, we're not taking over your listing without the idea of making sure you get compensated. One of the things that we try to do that we do is we make sure that you get a referral agreement in place so that you're guaranteed in writing that you're going to get your money. The other thing I would also say is that one of the most valuable things that a real estate agent has, is their time. You can only handle so many things yourself. And there are certain kinds of listings out there that you're going to get. And if you've been in the business a long time, you know this. You know that there are going to be listings that become long in the tooth, some that are going to maybe go expired. It's probably not even your fault. Maybe you're dealing with a seller who didn't exactly listen to you from the beginning as to what you wanted to price the property at. Maybe they came back and they said, "Oh, I want to list it for $965,000," and you said, "Okay, I'll take it on for $965,000." All the while knowing a month later that maybe you'd want to drop it down. I don't know, maybe say $65,000, $66,000 to where you really wanted it, where you thought it might actually sell. And, and that happens, but that doesn't necessarily mean that even when you drop it down to that price that it's actually going to sell, because, maybe you're just way over, maybe it's not where maybe the property is worth that in the best of markets, but maybe it's not worth that during a pandemic, and these are things that you have to kind of factor into what into your pricing. One of the things that's cool about what we do is we provide a third opinion on the property. So it's not just your opinion, the seller's opinion. You now have a third party opinion that comes in, and we're able to come in and have a what we call a come to Jesus moment, where we come in and we say, "Hey, Mr. Seller, you've had the property on the market for 150 days, 160 days. The listing is going to go expired. Your agent has done everything they could to try to help you get this done. But unfortunately, the pricing isn't right, or maybe we need to make some adjustments. Maybe we need to, what we call, add a sweetener. Maybe we need to offer, let me add this into it. Maybe the house needs a new roof. So maybe we add a $10,000 or $20,000 credit depending on the size of the property. Maybe we do these kinds of things. But again, having a fresh pair of eyes look at a problem that has become stale, and that's usually what we call them. We call them stale listings when they start to get long in the tooth. But again, we're not miracle workers. We're not Houdini. We can't sell the unsellable property any more than you can. So if the price is just too out of whack or too out of the range of normal, we can't make it happen any more than you can. But one of the things that we can do that most real estate agents cannot do is we change up the way it's paid. We offer what's called a buyer's premium. And what's a buyer's premium?
What is a buyer's premium? Well, we're going to say here's what the price you need to pay as the buyer. We're putting it all on the buyer side. And why might we have a buyer's premium?
Well, one of the things that's done in the auction, real estate auctions, and this is pretty common, rather than using a traditional real estate model where you just, that's 6% and we put it all in the seller. Well, yeah, sometimes that works. But again, my experienced agents out there, people who have been in the business for several years, know that sometimes you want to take on a potential property and you really can't because the person owes more than you could ever hope to get for the property. Well, in certain circumstances, in a regular real estate transaction, that's probably not going to close. But if you're going to use what we do through the auction department for RE/MAX Metro, we're going to use a buyer's premium, which means we're going to take that commission and we're going to wind up putting it onto the buyer, just as it sounds. So the buyer winds up paying it. And yeah, sometimes the buyer sits back and says, geez, well, that doesn't seem fair. But the reality of it is usually when the house goes to auction, it's one of these scenarios where it's a pretty good deal. It's not to say that we're shortchanging the seller, but we always promise the seller that we promise them fair market value. And what does fair market value mean? Well, that's the price that a buyer is willing to pay, that a seller is willing to accept. I know, wait a second, that sounds too simple. But it is. It's just that simple. And, we have all these ideas of what we think our homes are worth. But at the end of the day, it's what the market will bear. And it's not worth a penny over that.
Yeah, it's sort of like a teeter-totter. Mm-hmm. Here's what we're willing to do. And often, I know in one of the last deals we did, the guy says, well, gosh, I don't want to pay the buyer's premium. I said, look, you're still getting the deal for $20,000 less than you were going to pay last year.
Right.
And he goes, oh, well, that's true. I said, well, if you're getting a deal where you're paying $20,000 less than you were last year, it's still a good deal for you.
Correct. And again, it's and the same thing happens too. I mean, when we're talking to sellers, when we come in and say we're going to put it on as a buyer's premium, I can go in and say, oh, well, you were going to pay 6% out of that money. Now, I haven't figured it out yet, but there is this phenomenon that occurs. And it's almost like, they want to see this big pile of money, this projected pile of money. But at the end of the day, I'm a real dollars and cents kind of guy. It's what you put in your pocket. It's the check you actually collect. But some sellers have this psychological threshold where they look at it and go, well, but it looks more. Well, but it's what you put in your pocket that counts, right?
Right.
I mean, at least it should be in my mind. So when I look at a sales price and I can immediately deduct 5 to 6% off of what they were going to sell because that's what they were going to pay already. So if I deduct that, I can, and have the buyer pay for it. Well, if the buyer's paying for it, then that's great. Now I've saved you that 6%. So I can deduct that off of whatever you were trying to sell the home for and have a built-in price reduction that doesn't cost you any money. And to me, that should resonate with every seller out there. Wow, I'd like to lower the price because I'd like to get this sold, but I don't want to have to worry about paying, additional funds or fees to get this done. Well, that's why you would use an auction department. You would use us. Not every auction house does it that way. So you need to keep that in mind. But if you're using the Remax Metro auction division with Stan and James, then obviously, what we've been talking about is exactly what we would do.
Which is great. We like people who say things and do things as per what their game plan is.
Absolutely. And again, if you have any gardening questions or real estate, you can certainly give us a call at 813-289-1860 or 877-969-8600. And we're going to have Steve with Plants be joining us here shortly at about 8:05 a.m.
So make sure that if you mark down those questions, if you've got something about indoor plants, well, Steve is a wealth of knowledge there, of course.
He sure is.
And he'll give you some of his secrets on how you keep indoor plants still thriving even after the conditions that can be tough indoors. So make sure you stay with us here on The Answer, AM 860. The Answer, stay with us as the plant talk and real estate talk continues.
Biophilia, our innate attraction to other living things. It's why people love plants. And around Tampa Bay, Plants, that's Plantz, is bringing nature inside in workspaces and homes by delivering beautiful foliage plants. Our plants increase oxygen and filter out pollutants, reducing stress and improving productivity, and get you in touch with your biophilic side. Go to plantz.us.
Have you ever thought about auctioning your home?
30, 1 minute and 2 and 2 minute and 3 and 3 minute and 4 and 4 minute and 5 minute and 2 9 minute and 6 on 2 9 minute and 7.
Remax Metro encourages you to auction your Florida real estate. Please go to aflre.com. That's A for auction, FL for Florida, and RE for real estate. We achieve full market value for your home. Tired of paying real estate commissions? How about 0% commission for sellers? That's right, sellers pay 0% commission. Again, go aflre.com. That's Auction Florida Real Estate. That's aflre.com.
Utz Tree Service, that's YUTZY, is singularly focused on complete customer satisfaction and has been for almost 50 years. From initial contact to service completion, UtzTreeService.com will prove that you have hired the best tree care service available. With the most knowledgeable staff and the most advanced equipment, you can be sure that UtzTreeService.com is the most professional tree care company in the Tampa Bay area. Contact UtzTreeService.com today for the highest quality tree care.
Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show. Got questions about perennial problems with flowers? What about issues with closing on your newest property? Call now, 813-289-1860. Toll free, 877-969-8600. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And someone asked me recently, okay, I've got a bad area in my yard, in a grass area, and I just can't seem to ever get it to fill in. Take a bag of black cow, put that whole bag in that area, kind of rake it in. And the nice thing about having something like black cow is you get all those nutrients that you can put in and around the soil, and it helps to improve the quality. So if you have an area in your yard where nothing seems to grow, it seems to always be that little dead zone, get a bag of black cow, put it in there, and that's my tip, my secret to you on how you can get that area to look better. Could be for a plant. Well, it's not going to hurt, and it often will make the difference. You know, when I've got an area where I look at an area, sometimes I call it a dead spot. You just can't seem to get that area. Now, sometimes it's, I called it builder's blight, where the builder didn't take everything off. They kind of said, let's sweep the concrete and rock and sheetrock and whatever else over into that area. And if you do, that can be a major problem. But sometimes just improving that soil can make the big difference.
Sure, absolutely. No, and Black Cow is such a great product. I mean, it's one of these things where I couldn't recommend it enough in terms of having the difference in success. I mean, when you look at our Florida sandy soils, which I think you've said many, many times is mostly alkaline, right? I mean,
Yep.
So, and I think you've also said we have less than 1% organic matter in our soils.
1%, and that may be pushing it sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely pushing it in my yard because, I mean, I'm pretty much, it looks like sandy soil and shell and
That's pretty typical.
Yeah. I mean, so again, I mean, that's what a difference between what people are used to up north and then when they come down to Florida to retire, they start to plant stuff and then I think they make this, the aha moment. Wait a second, these plants look sickly. Why aren't they doing very well? Well, it's because you're not starting out with the same foundation that you had up north.
You had probably had a darker, blacker soil where you were from than the sand that we have makes great glass.
Absolutely. And we want to mention again, too, that if you want to give us a call today with your plant and or real estate questions, please do so at 813-289-1860 or 877-969-8600.
8600. And there you go. If you want to give us a jingle, do it now. We won't bite. We'll make it easy. I know people are always afraid to call an on-talk show host because often you'll wait for hours and hours and you'll get your, 30 seconds on air. We'll get you on pretty quick and we make it painless. A lot of times, if it's a political show, there's this apprehension. He's going to make me look bad. Well, our show, the thing I love about gardening, doesn't matter. You're white, you're black, you're orange, you're green. It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. As you said, if you're 6 years old or 96 years old, this is a hobby that anybody can love and enjoy. And right now, I think that's one of the things that's really important in our society right now is we need to bring back beauty into our lives. And remember, I was coming over the Courtney Campbell today to come to the radio show, and I was watching, and again, it makes my heart feel full because I saw how many cars were parked already. I mean, here it is, a little after 6 a.m. on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. I'd love to think I'd be getting up that early if I didn't have to do a radio show, which isn't probably true. But anyway, I did see half a dozen cars already there, and people were already walking and enjoying the sunrise coming up and a start of a new day. And
got to say, it is beautiful.
It's just beautiful to see, and so in that way, God bless having a radio show to come do because it motivated me to get up to see God's beauty once more.
I agree. You look at all the, as long as you've lived here, it still lightens the heart to see that it's a beautiful view coming across the causeway between Tampa and St. Pete.
And again, if we're going to find a silver lining with this COVID-19, look at the amount of people that are walking and biking mm-hmm. and doing things outside and exercising that maybe weren't doing that before. Now, I know that the liquor sales are up and people's food bills are high. But I will say the idea that it's motivated people to do things that they hadn't done in the past, I think that's a wonderful thing. And it's something that we should definitely put a spotlight on. And I'm glad I'm doing that now.
You are. And that is important. I think that when you think about plants is positive. Mm-hmm. And plants are positive. Trees are positive. Indoor plants are positive. Mm-hmm. Growing a garden, growing herbs. The lovely Mrs. GT the other day helped me with some of my moringa that I've grown in the back.
Oh, and you love your moringa.
I do. It's got more protein than meat. It's got more calcium than milk. It's got more vitamin C than oranges.
I see. So are you saying you're going to have some bodybuilders going over there just diving in for the moringa?
They'll be saying, I'm going to be great. I'll be running for governor of California.
Governor of California.
Yeah. So, it's. I think it's a real healthy thing. I'll probably get Dr. Lang to put it into a pill form for me. And that way we could share what I think is really healthy. No, I do think it's important. We know that having the right amount of protein and calcium And vitamins are important for all of us.
Sure.
And if you get it in a natural way, we've got it around. The old saying is that food is medicine.
It is. Eating the right, and that's one of the things my doctor was telling me recently too. He says, people want me to help them by writing on my script pad. He says, and so what I've been doing is I just grab a piece of paper that looks a lot like my script pad, and I write down what I'd like them to do and tell them that's their script. He says, and they don't really care for it either, because it's one of these things where I'm telling them that they ought to watch what they eat, that they need to exercise more, and he says but again, he says they want it in a pill form. He says, and unfortunately, he says, it's hard to get that. It's not just that they have to take their medications. It's what they do in terms of what food they're eating and the time that they spent exercising. He says that's as critical as anything I'm going to prescribe them.
And I believe that. I think that's true. So if you need some more motivation, well, we're here to help with that. I mean, I think you can grow some. As I say, I'm growing some carambolas in my backyard. I've got a navel orange. I've got bananas. I've got some bananas coming again.
Oh, nice.
Which is nice.
Is that the Rajapura?
Yes. It's
the sweetest banana in the world. It's also a little tiny one, too, right?
Well, it's 3 or 4 inches. Yeah,
okay.
Pretty good size.
But, I mean, when we think of the Chiquitas in the store...
It's smaller than that.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of that and the Dole, and we're not partial. We're not being paid from either company yet.
But in the future,
if true,
yes, allegedly true. Got some avocados coming, which they're looking nice. Got a Brogdon. Actually, it's a nice color. It turns kind of a black color when it's really nice and ready. And boy, it doesn't have a real thick skin. And I think it's the reason the Brogdon didn't get pushed more as far as
you mean commercially
shipped. But boy, is it one of the tastiest avocados that you can grow, and I've got some of those coming. So,
and I can attest. I mean, the neighbor to the left, Jesse Wright, and then to the right of his John Mason. Usually, one or two of them are holding up a rickety ladder, trying to get to the very top and all of your avocados, and they're dropping them down, and they're trying to time when you're not going to be home.
No, they help me out because they know I can't climb ladders like I used to.
Well, not just that, but the reality of it is you have a gracious plenty, more than you could potentially eat off of that one tree. That thing must be 30 feet tall. Ridiculous.
And I just put it in probably maybe 6-7 years ago.
I know, that's ridiculous.
But I did. I put a bag of black cow underneath it when I planted it.
Right. And the main difference there that I think a lot of people don't realize when they do the toothpick thing, and we've all tried the toothpick thing, and it's fun to watch the roots come down to the water, and then to watch this ugly thing turn into something that looks remotely like a plant. First, it looks a little bit like something out of Area 51. At least in my mind, it looks like a Martian growing something out of its head. But one of the things that you made sure to do is have a grafted tree, and tell people why that's important.
Well, you're getting a scion, which is a known variety, and I was just noticing the other day that we had more hits, I think a couple thousand hits on the grafting one we did last year, where I talk about grafting.
Oh, yeah, on the YouTube channel.
Channel. How do they know more about YouTube channel?
Yeah, again, it's really simple. I mean, you go to the YouTube search engine, just at the top of any YouTube, you log in, or you don't even have to log in, really. And you can do it on your app, the YouTube app on your iPhone, or you go to the actual internet thing. But it's Ask Mr. Greenthumb, hit enter, and that's not Dr. Greenthumb. That'll get you to the marijuana rap guy. And so just letting you know the difference. Yeah. So anyway, if anybody wants to give us a call, it's 813-289-1860 or 877-969-8600.
And you stay tuned. Next hour, we've got Steve Stanford from Plants that's going to be with us, and that'll be a great interview, I just know. So stay with us here on 860 The Answer.
Have you ever thought about auctioning your home?
30, 1 bid and 2 and 2 bid and 3 and 4 and 4 bid and 5 bid and 2 9 bid and 6 on 9 bid and 7.
Remax Metro encourages you to auction your Florida real estate. Please go to aflre.com. That's A for auction, FL for Florida, and RE for real estate. We achieve full market value for your home. Tired of paying real estate commissions? How about 0% commission for sellers? That's right, sellers pay 0% commission. Again, go aflre.com. That's Auction Florida Real Estate. That's aflre.com.
Thinking of buying a home or refinancing your mortgage? Don't settle for limited loan options. And don't waste your time calling all over town just to compare rates. Skip all the hassle and connect with Matto Mortgage Advisors instead. Matto Mortgage Advisors home loan experts offer a wide variety of mortgage products, and they'll help you compare rates and loan terms in one convenient location. Visit MattoMortgage.com or call 727-202-5626. Matto Mortgage Advisors, NMLS 1744233. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed. Equal housing opportunity.
Biophilia, our innate attraction to other living things. It's why people love plants. And around Tampa Bay, Plants, that's Plantz, is bringing nature inside, in workspaces and homes by delivering beautiful foliage plants. Our plants increase oxygen and filter out pollutants, reducing stress and improving productivity. And get you in touch with your biophilic side. Go to plantz.us.
For everything from questions about cucumbers to homes on cul-de-sacs, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show with Stan DeFreitas, the dad, and James DeFreitas, the son. For the next hour, call in with your questions in gardening, growing your favorite veggies, and growing your profits in real estate. Locally, call 813-289-1860. Toll free 877-969-8600. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And I am Stan DeFreitas, the dad, and you are...
And I am James DeFreitas, the son.
And we've got Steve Stanford from Plants in here with us. And
Good morning, guys.
Steve is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to indoor plants. Now, Steve, you've been in the business for a long time with plants, and your first business was a plant rental business, right?
Well, we rent and sell lease plants all over the Tampa Bay market. That was part of our revenue stream, was renting plants.
Renting plants.
The plant business has always been the basis of it has been plant leasing.
Plant leasing.
Yep.
Okay, we want to make sure we're up on that. And so for folks who have, let's say, the doctor's office, the restaurant. Now, a lot of people, I think, when you get back to restaurants, they're opening up again. And did some of the folks say, well, were they there to tend for the plants? You were tending to the plants even if the restaurant wasn't open, probably.
Yes and no. I mean, we gave customers an option. They could amend their service, suspend their service. But it was important to keep the greenery alive and going in these establishments. And a lot of them have reached out to us and are using plants for social distancing right now, to keep the tables spread apart, keep people an appropriate distance apart in the restaurant and the seating areas.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, because that way it wouldn't be quite as, well, you see something here and then not over here. I mean, we were at Bonefish yesterday, which was nice for my birthday dinner.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And we were there. It was like, I said, well, how about a booth over here? And they were like, no, you can't have that booth over here. I said, well, I'd really like that booth over there. And they went, no. She goes,
it's reserved. You had to reserve it, sir.
She said, we have ways of making you pay. And it was okay. But
Did you just say, hey, I'm Mr. Greenthumb, get out of my way?
I said, big time star, a big time celebrity.
I think he would have had better luck if he said, hey, I'm Steve Stanford with plants.
Yeah, I think, see all these plants around here? I can pull them. And then maybe
no plants for you.
I might have gotten the respect that I deserve. Yeah, I think I could have told her I was Mr. Greenthumb, and she would have gone, still, you need to call for reservations. But anyway, with the plants, now, I know you have that business. You also have a business where you ship plants to downtown New York.
We're shipping all over the country.
Wherever.
We've shipped to the lower 48. We've shipped plants to Alaska, Washington, D.C., and we're approaching our 1,500th Ficus lyrata, fiddle-leaf fig.
Wow.
It's going out all over the country. So we're shipping big ones. So these are 5.5, 6 feet tall, and we figured out the packaging and the shipping and have a good partner with FedEx, and we're going at it.
That's cool. Yeah, I know. You actually have a real process there, too. I mean, it's like everybody says, all right, here's our job, boom, 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 and you get it done. When you do get it out, you get it out the door pretty darn quick.
Well, we try to. But there's a lot of luck in this business, a lot of luck in the shipping, but there's some science in it, too. And we found that during the very cold months, that we have some failures. If a plant in transit gets too cold, I mean, it's tropical foliage.
Interesting. I would have thought you would have more trouble in the heat, but you're telling me it's in the cold.
We're having just as much trouble in the heat. But the customers on the buying end don't understand the heat part. They get the cold. Okay, if it gets in the 30s, it's a tropical plant. I get it. But they don't get when you ship a Dracaena to their doorstep, and they let it sit on the doorstep for 8 hours in the baking sun on a south-facing house, and it kills the plant.
It's 120 degrees in the box, probably.
Yeah. So
if people are interested in looking at your catalog of plants that they can get to, now the service is like Plants by Mail, but I don't remember how they actually get to. Can they get to it from the plants.us, which is what we advertise from you guys?
Yeah, there's a Buy a Plant button, and it'll take you to our plants, plantz.com site, and the plants.com site is our national storefront.
Gotcha. So that's where people would go if they actually want to buy a plant and have it shipped to their door.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Is there anything different that you guys have to do depending on the temperature? Do you guys change it up on how you package stuff?
We've experimented with the heat packs in the wintertime, but we don't have many air conditioners yet for the boxes. We're still trying to figure that out. So, it's just a waiting game. If someone orders a plant in California and has to go through Arizona, we just put them on the waiting list, and hopefully they'll retain the order and wait for the weather to be right.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's definitely a challenge. But having been to the plants facility there in Tampa, I have to say it's very impressive. I mean, what they have done in a short period of time, from start to finish, with being able to package up the plants, create a system, have the FedEx guy come by, and get that to your door. I have to say it's truly impressive what you guys have done.
Thanks, James.
Yeah, I mean, it just is. And I don't know if too many other competing services that do what you do exactly the way you guys are doing it. And not only that, but you guys have an enormous catalog of videos to explain how to care for your plant after you receive it so that you know what you need to do. And one thing that sticks in my mind, I'm not going to remember the name of it, but you have this red tool that you can put into the soil that tells you how wet it is. And I know you know the name of that thing.
Yeah, it's a Soil Sleuth.
The Soil Sleuth.
That's just the brand name of a soil probe that we use, but there's several different soil probes out there. But the soil probe is an indispensable tool, and anyone who's trying to maintain plants inside, got to have it.
Yeah, because if I remember, serves me correctly, watching one of your videos, as I've had the pleasure of doing, I remember you talking about touching the soil, and you can really tell because it gives you a nice graduated amounts of different soils, and you know how wet it is, how deep it is in terms of how whether or not that soil is truly saturated or if it's too much.
We find people, they want to do the finger test and stick their finger in, and the finger goes in 2 inches. Well, it's dry in the top 2 inches, but what about down 10 inches? It could be soaking wet.
Right.
And so you pull a sample of the soil profile and actually get to examine it and understand whether the plant needs water or not. Because we know that overwatering plants is one of the biggest killers.
Sure. Yeah, and the other thing I would say too is if one of the things that's really cool with what Steve does with his plants there is he has the watering system all incorporated. I mean, there's like a wicking system. You don't really get to see it on how it's doing its thing. And most of the other products that I've seen competing, they don't take the time to put the moss around it and make it look as nice as it possibly can. So when you see any of his plants around town, and you will, because all of the hotels, all of the most prestigious places in the area use plants as their commercial application. And you'll notice how far they go in terms of making it presentable and professional. And so you guys have this wicking system, and tell us a little bit about that.
It's generally categorized as sub-irrigation.
Okay.
So it's below the plant. And you'll use wicking material and capillary action to get the water to defy gravity and get the water from down below up into the soil profile. So when the soil profile dries down, the water is absorbed into the soil profile by capillary action from a reservoir below. And it's very simple. It's very, very simple.
So this way, the plant is getting exactly the water it needs without overwatering it.
Correct.
Yeah. And otherwise, if you're not doing it that way, you're going to have problems.
That's true. Well, now one thing, we helped with you. We helped with some videos. James and I did a TV show for 2 years on CBS, and we brought our 4K cameras into plants, and we shot in his greenhouse area, which last time was a bit warm, and but we got it done, and we had good audio, and everything was good. Now you're still using some of those, I hope.
Oh yeah, I know. My Stan DeFreitas videos are still prominently displayed on the website.
Well, we appreciate that. We know we did some
Appreciate your
work,
help.
and of course you were good, as I knew you would be, as you are on radio. So. I don't want to build his head up too high here. He'll be saying, okay, you can get rid of that Greenthumb guy in here, and it'll be Plants by Steve coming in next. But we know that you're a good man, and we're glad to be affiliated with you.
Yeah, thanks. Likewise.
Yeah. And again, one thing I was going to ask you about, too, and we've only got a few minutes before we go to break, but I did want to throw it out there. Not only do you do, for commercial offices and stuff like that, but you do events, too, right?
Yeah.
So
and you can imagine that's dried up a bit.
Yeah.
But we're coming out of it. We booked a couple of graduations.
Nice.
There's weddings starting to pop, so it's coming back. But
yeah.
I really feel for the folks in the event space. It's got to been tough.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of the things I was thinking about is because Stan and I are both members at the Safety Harbor Spa, and I kept thinking, my goodness, the revenue that has been lost from not having weddings. I know that's one of their big things that they do there, and as it is for most hotels, especially if they have a nice location. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and that's another thing, too. We had the opportunity of, essentially putting our membership on hold, but I kept thinking to myself, gosh, if we all do that, how many more people are going to be out of work? And I know a gracious plenty of members did do that. But then so many people did it that we had our own private gym. So I felt very safe.
Yeah.
So now people are starting to come back. But we're hoping that this whole, I think this COVID-19, we realize all the protocol that has to be there, but we're glad that it seems like we're going back more toward normal.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to. Nothing. It's not going to turn the other way. We've got to get the economy back roaring again.
Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely. And you can't do that from your basement, and any more than you can do that running a presidential campaign.
Well, I know Joe is in there. We're hoping to get this plexiglass out of here. Now, we're doing it because we're being COVID-19 compliant. But, we are praying for the days that we can get rid of this. And I think Joe's actually on the prayer line with us.
Absolutely. And if you want to give us a call and talk to Steve with Plants, it's 813-289-1860. Or if you want to call toll-free, it's 877-969-8600.
And the plant talk and real estate talk will continue here on AM 860, The Answer. You stay with us. Give us a call.
Biophilia, our innate attraction to other living things. It's why people love plants. And around Tampa Bay, Plants, that's Plantz, is bringing nature inside, in workspaces and homes by delivering beautiful foliage plants. Our plants increase oxygen and filter out pollutants, reducing stress and improving productivity. And get you in touch with your biophilic side. Go to plantz.us.
Hi, Darcy the cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. Every time you buy a bag of Black Cow, you're helping the environment. Our process helps to repurpose manure so it is environmentally friendly and beneficial for your garden and lawn. Black Cow contains up to 10 times more nutrients and microbes than garden soils. Oh yeah, and it helps to retain moisture too. Your lawn, flower beds, and vegetable gardens will be off to a great start with Black Cow. Everything grows better with sun, water, and Black Cow. Oh yeah, for details, check out our website, at blackcow.com.
Black Cow, the mature manure, Black Cow.
Have you ever thought about auctioning your home?
And 30, 1 minute, and 2, and 3 minute, and 4, and 4 minute, and 5 minute, and 2, 9 minute, and 6, and 2, 9 minute, and 7.
Remax Metro encourages you to auction your Florida real estate. Please go to aflre.com. That's A for auction, FL for Florida, and RE for real estate. We achieve full market value for your home. Tired of paying real estate commissions? How about 0% commission for sellers? That's right, sellers pay 0% commission. Again, go AFLRE.com. That's Auction Florida Real Estate. That's AFLRE.com.
Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show. Connect online at AskMrGreenthumb.com. Got questions on gardening, real estate, or both? Call now, 813-289-1860. Toll free, 877-969-8600. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And we feel fortunate. We have Steve Stanford from Plants, Plantz. If you've got a fiddle leaf fig, you've got an aglaonema, you've got a Dieffenbachia, a pothos, a philodendron, philo meaning love and dendron meaning tree, he can help give you that love for your tree and your biophilia.
Can you believe it, Steve? Beauty and brains.
Hey. He can help with all of that.
I feel loved.
You are loved, much beloved here at The Answer, because you are The Answer here at AM 860. And if you've got a question about your indoor plants, and a lot of folks, have indoor plants, and sometimes they live and sometimes they die, but often it's sort of like, kind of reminds me of some real estate agents. Put a sign out, pray, and hope for the best.
That's right.
That is kind of the standard. I think we heard that when we went through.
We did hear that a few times. And the same thing kind of applies, too, with Steve and Plants, is that people will order these plants, I'm sure, not realize that they actually should watch these videos that you've done. And then they'll call you after the fact and go, it's the plant you sent me. It's not the lack of care I gave it.
Right. Now, we've got clear instructions on how to handle just about every situation.
Right.
Up on our site.
You guys have videos on every plant that you sell, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's at the plants.us site that they're going to find these videos?
Plants.com.
Plants.com. Okay. So now I'm glad I asked that, because I would have gotten it wrong.
Plants.com is if you want to buy a plant. Plants.us is our local site for service. If you have a professional office, restaurant, and you want plants in it, we come outfit your location and service the plants.
Yeah, because I was looking at your website the other day, and I saw this beautiful wallscape thing that you guys do, and was a different color moss
and cork and different barks, anything to bring nature indoors.
Kind of a living wall then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And if people haven't seen this, you should definitely go check it out on his website, because it is the coolest thing ever. And certainly a attention grabber. You walk into some office space somewhere, you'd see it, and immediately you'll get that biophilia experience.
Now, if a restaurant person calls you and says, look, can you help, we need to have this far apart or 6 feet for social distancing, can you put a plant here to help do that? And I'm sure you could.
And we do.
And you do.
We do. Yeah.
And you have.
Yes. So it's a combination of getting the planter and the plant right, so it doesn't spread its leaves too far, and it's more upright. But we do. There are folks out there using them for social distancing.
Sure, that's great. I imagine even maybe some law offices. You think they would, because they want to make sure they're COVID-19 compliant?
Yeah. A lot of the lawyers went home for 30, 60 days. They're getting back in their offices, and we're getting calls for more outfitting in the attorney's offices.
Sure, and that's a good point, too. You can either run over to your big box store, and you could pick up some blue tape and make this wonderful X on the floor, or you could call Steve with Plants, and you could put up a nice plant to give people that 6-foot social distancing. It's your choice. I know which one I'd choose.
Go green.
Yeah, go green. That's right. Go green with Steve here. And so that's a very good point, because, one of the things I had taken my wife recently for our anniversary. We took her over here to Fleming's, and they had us sit in this booth, but we had to, and again, it's not that we didn't mind sitting together, but we had to sit on one side, and I guess they had taken out a tape measure and measured out where the next person could go. And their booths, thankfully, are far enough apart, but we all had to sit in the same direction, which we thought was unusual, and she wanted to tell me some things. So I had initially thought about sitting across from her so that we could actually see each other. I don't have to crook my neck the entire time that we were there, but it worked out. We went along with the flow. And I think that's so much of what we're doing right now with the COVID-19 is, and I know in Stan and I's other business with the real estate, we're having to just do whatever the client is comfortable with, and adjust our thinking, even if we have very different political views or different different health concerns. One of the things that we're having to do is just adjust our concerns to whatever makes them feel most comfortable.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably been the biggest shift for us. And I'm sure that you've run into your own set of challenges, in terms of, how the staff goes into buildings, if they wearing gloves and stuff.
We're all our technicians, plant care technicians, are wearing face masks. We're washing hands in and out, hand sanitizer, and trying to keep a safe distance from folks.
Sure. Yeah, and that's one of the things we noticed, too, when we were going in and out of the Safety Harbor Spa, one of your clients, and a place that we actually are members at. Yeah, we really enjoyed the place. One of the things that we noticed is we bumped into one of your staff members probably a month and a half ago or 2 months ago now, and I'd happened to notice that they were in there doing their job and cleaning and doing stuff with their, with your plants and stuff in there, and then I got to talking, and I had forgotten that was one of your clients, and so we had got to talking a bit, and of course your staff does such an amazing job, and he was and it was before this whole hoopla had really already gotten to this point to where it is now, and you guys were already doing it. You guys were already taking proactive safety measures to try to enhance Comm if anybody saw what you were doing. So hats off to you there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, your plants by mail. One of the things that I have been telling Stan for the last couple of months now is every time I go by the big box store and I see the nurseries, there are more cars out in front of the big box nursery stores and local mom and pop nurseries than I can count. How is this? I mean, I would imagine the growth has been phenomenal for you guys.
I think gardening has become very popular.
Sure.
During the stay-at-home orders, and people are discovering how the plants can provide them with food,
right.
and they can grow their own. So as an offshoot of that, there's also the health benefits of having plants in your interior environment. They produce oxygen,
sure,
and
take in carbon dioxide
and VOCs, and convert it to all kinds of good stuff. So it's been very positive on our business, and it's been a significant spike in sales.
That's great.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
We do have a caller, John. I think he's got a question on Bahia grass. And John in Pinellas, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Fine, thank you. My question is now okay to put some Bahia seeds down? And I have just done that about a month ago, put the Bahia down with rye, but the rye is now seems to be...
John, I'm going to put you on hold again. I hate to do that. I'm going to come right back to you after we pay some bills here.
Sure. And if others people want to call us, it's 813-289-1860 or 877-969-8600.
Stay with us as the Plant Talk continues right here on AM 860, The Answer.
Thinking of buying a home or refinancing your mortgage? Don't settle for limited loan options. And don't waste your time calling all over town just to compare rates. Skip all the hassle and connect with Matto Mortgage Advisors instead. Matto Mortgage Advisors home loan experts offer a wide variety of mortgage products, and they'll help you compare rates and loan terms in one convenient location. Visit MattoMortgage.com or call 727-202-5626. Matto Mortgage Advisors, NMLS 1744233. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed. Equal housing opportunity.
The Answer.
Have you ever thought about auctioning your home?
30, 1 bid and 2 and 2 bid and 3 bid and 4 and 4 bid and 5 bid and 2 9 bid and 6 on 2 9 bid and 7.
Remax Metro encourages you to auction your Florida real estate. Please go to AFLRE.com. That's A for auction, FL for Florida, and RE for real estate. We achieve full market value for your home. Tired of paying real estate commissions? How about 0% commission for sellers? That's right, sellers pay 0% commission. Again, go AFLRE.com. That's Auction Florida Real Estate. That's AFLRE.com.
Biophilia, our innate attraction to other living things. It's why people love plants. And around Tampa Bay, Plants, that's Plantz, is bringing nature inside in workspaces and homes by delivering beautiful foliage plants. Our plants increase oxygen and filter out pollutants, reducing stress and improving productivity. And get you in touch with your biophilic side. Go to plantz.us.
Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show. Got questions about perennial problems with flowers? What about issues with closing on your newest property? Call now, 813-289-1860. Toll free, 877-969-8600. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And we're going to go right back to John in Pinellas, who has Bahia grass. I didn't have time to do you justice there, John, and though I may wind up telling you to throw some sod eventually, but the seed, are you covering the seed over?
A little bit, but not by much.
If you could, I'd rake it in, because if you can get that seed down, a half inch or so, if you could rake it in, it'll do better. If you leave it on the top, the mourning doves are going to come in and think it's Meals on Wheels, and they're going to fly in and go, boy, look at this. John just loved us because he put all the seed over there for us, and we'll eat it. And unfortunately, if they ate it and put it through their system, it might not be so bad, but if they did it right there, but they'll probably go to the neighbor's yard.
How about the, it's kind of coated, the seeds that I'm putting down are coated.
Hopefully it's scarified seed. You need scarified. It means it's gone through a machine that kind of breaks the seed coating a little bit. Sometimes they can do it chemically. They could also do it mechanically. But scarified seed will germinate a lot quicker. Bahia seed it's a tough seed. And remember, we're going back to a South American grass that was used for cow pasture. And not to denigrate it too much, but that's what it was.
Sure, and that's kind of the reason that we use it in Florida, is because it is a tough thing.
It is tough, except for mole crickets.
Except for mole crickets, right.
That's the biggest problem. But I would say make sure it does. Remember, if a seed dries, it dies. You got to make sure. We're going into a situation now where we get more water right now. We're getting these afternoon showers. Thank God. We've all been praying for that. Mm-hmm. And that makes a difference. If that seed can stay moist, you have a much better chance. Now, the ryegrass seed, hopefully you didn't, if it does come up, it'll die immediately because it doesn't like this kind of heat. So
that's what I thought. Is there anything else to put on to help to cover the ground?
I would say rake it in. Sometimes I've seen folks even like if they have a little tractor, they'll kind of have a device behind it. You can kind of rake the ground behind it.
Like a tiller.
Like a little tiller type thing. But about a half inch would be great. If you've got one area, maybe even a bag of black cow, you could kind of rake over that area to kind of hold the seed in place. Always loyal to my sponsors. But it's good. I mean, you need to keep that that seed moist. If it dries out, and it's easy to dry out, my problem right now is we got a lot of rain. Now they're saying middle of the week, we're going back to dry again. And it doesn't take very long for it to get dry again. And if a seed starts to germinate, it'll die if it starts to get too dry.
How long does it take to dry? I mean, would it do it in a day or half a day?
Yeah, I would say if we don't get rain, you need to be watering some out there, either with your handheld hose or sprinkler. Or do you have a sprinkler system, or are you the sprinkler?
No, I have a hand hose right now. I'm gonna put a deep well in, I think.
All right, well that'd be good. I mean, for years I was my own sprinkler. I do have a sprinkler system now, and I do love it where I can go hit the little button and the thing goes, ching, and everything's going to get watered in each zone. And boy, does that make my life better. And it makes even as I say, my garden of Whedon, look green. And I'm not one of those. And that's funny. I have customers that are going, "Oh, we want it just perfect." And I go, "Well, nothing in life is perfect." But in my own yard, I worry more about my avocado, my carambola, my tomatoes. Those are the things that have the higher priority in my world. And if there happen to be a weed out there, I go, weed is just a plant out of place. So
okay, thank you very much.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for the call.
Yep, that's a good call. And
I wouldn't try any of the Bahia grass inside, by the way.
No, I was going to say, it needs full sun. That's the other problem. Bahia needs full sun. If you've got partial shade, it doesn't do very well. And so St. Augustine does better. We had a call a week or so ago about that. Could I put St. Augustine in the shade? Well, yes, you could, but then you get two different kinds of grasses. Yeah. And, when you start using weed and feeds and things like that, the atrazine, which works on St. Augustine, starts the Bahia. And if you use 2,4-D, which is the weed killer in Bahia type bonus B, it hurts the St. Augustine. So you get into problems on which one do you love most.
Sure. And I think right now, rather than worrying about your lawn, why not take care of the plants that you can handle indoors in the air conditioning. I mean, yeah, I think that, to me, that's a nice transition, because now we have this kind of thing going on where it's really just too hot. Unless you want to be up at 6 a.m. or go tending to your yard at 6 o'clock at night or later, why not just be inside and dealing with your indoor plants, which are so much easier to take care of?
And you don't even have to take care of them. You can call Steve with his staff for plants and let them take care of it for you.
Sure.
You got it, Stan.
See, that's what we want you to do. That's what most people are going to go say, look at my office. Don't those plants look good? Well, how did you do it? What's your secret? Well, PLANTZ, that's my secret on keeping those plants looking sharp.
That's right. And then plus they're going to be using the soil sleuth, as you just were telling us about.
Well, it all goes back to irrigation. Stan mentioned to John there about, the irrigation system for his Bahia grass. And I think the foundation for any great landscape is an awesome irrigation system. And so, you got to get the soil moisture right. You got to get it right inside. You got to get it right outside. The only way to get it right inside is to use a soil probe, and we use the soil sleuth.
Yeah, and that just makes so much sense. Now, when people do use your plants by mail, do you find that there are certain kinds of plants that do better in transit, or all of the plants seem to do okay?
No.
Okay.
There's more sensitivity. The Dracaenas, the Lisas that we sell are propagated and grown to market size in Hawaii, and they're very, very sensitive to temperature, both heat and cold. So that's one of the more difficult ones. We're having luck getting Monsteras out to everybody. ZZs ship pretty well. It's a pretty hardy plant. Some Arecas, we're shipping those. They're making it pretty good.
Sure, and if anybody has sort of an apprehension about buying plants from you because, what if it does die on transit, and they get it and they take a picture of it and send it to you and say, hey, this thing didn't make it. How do you take care of it?
You've got an option there. You can get your money back, or we can send you another plant.
Gotcha. Okay, so you take care of them right off the bat because you want that repeat consumer.
Yeah, and looking at the numbers over the since last year, our success rate for landing that plant on somebody's doorstep anywhere in the country has increased significantly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you really have gotten your process down pat.
Yep.
That makes sense. Well, that's fantastic because, one of the things that I've always found is why would you want to go to the big box store when you could just have FedEx come by and put it right on your doorstep? The things are heavy. You're probably going to spill soil in your car. You're going to be going to the car wash station. What a pain.
Well, I think one of the biggest advantages we have is we have staff who are accessible to our end customer and the end user, and we're plant coaches. So we're coaching these guys through different situations. You got an east-facing window, south-facing window.
So after they get their plant, they can call you and find out. Hey,
they do call us.
Oh, they do call you. Okay,
but a lot of it's electronic these days. A lot of email back and forth, but we do end up on the phone with customers and. Yeah, we've got support staff.
Wow. So
to keep your plant alive.
Yeah. So, and you're not going to get that at a big box store. You're going to get some guy who's had maybe a week's worth of training who doesn't know his plants all that well, other than maybe he could tell you where it is in the nursery.
Speaking of support, we've got Al in Tampa. We want to go there. Al in Tampa, and we can get rid of John and Pinellas. He should be gone, but we've got Al in Tampa who's got some grub problems.
Welcome, Al.
Good morning. Question to ask you. About 3 weeks ago, I thought I had brown patch or fungus, and I treated it, but now I was told it looks like it's really grubworm. I bought the product. I got a big bottle, well, it's maybe 40 ounces of Bio Advance for that you hook to the hose. Then they were out of that, so maybe everybody's getting that thing, and I was able to get the 2 last bags of the dry one. With this rainy weather, is it better to try to treat it with the dry product by Biomass for the grub worms, or is the liquid better because you don't have to worry about it for rains? What's the best way to
there's just different ways of putting it down. Either way, normally you do want to water even a granular product to get it down to where they're at. So unless you get a monsoon, you're getting 7 or 8 inches of rain at one time, which might be too much of a good thing. I would say, the little afternoon showers we've been getting for the most part, and I know the weathermen always go, well, got 6 inches here and you got, trace, 1 block away. And that's one of the joys of Florida, because we never seem to have it even, like in some parts of the country where I've been through before, where, the rain will go all the way across almost like a regular sheet. Here it sometimes is different. But I would say the dry material should work. And, I might even dig down with a shovel. We're talking about the soil sleuth that Steve uses on his indoor plants. Sometimes digging down to see if there are grubs down there. They'll be they look like a C, and they're kind of white, kind of gray in the middle. And if you've got more than 1 or 2 per, let's say, square foot, then treatment with your grub material is probably a real good idea. Because what happens, the grubs will eat on those roots, and then it'll be like... there won't be anything on top. You can go walking across it, and the grass wants to move with you because there isn't a root system.
So grubs kind of look like little larva kind of thing, or no?
They're little larval. They're larval stages of beetles. Not John Paul Ringo and the boys without Epe. We can't do rock and roll like we used to. No, not those beetles, but they are larval stages of beetles. Usually a nice big beetle, a big brown or white.
So they're going to become beetles.
I probably would, or at least the areas that I know that looks like they're in. If you
I got different spots throughout the front and the back, so that's why I bought 2 bags. Each one is for 10,000 square feet. So, all right. So
you have maybe enough there to do it again if you need to, depending on the size yard you have. 10,000 square feet is a fairly good size yard. I don't know what size you have, but
it was a good size yard and stuff like that. But I just didn't want the grass. I spent so much money on this floor tan, and it's normally in good shape, but this spring, maybe it's because of the rain and the heat that.
Or it could be the grubs. Yeah, I think treating the yard with the grub material is a excellent idea.
All right. You listen. Your show is very good. I remember you from when you used to be with. Golly, was it 5 years ago with that gentleman?
Mark. Yeah, I did the show with Mark. I did it with him for years over on the other station, and I liked being there. But if you can tell all your neighbors and friends, hey, Florida Gardening is now over at 860.
We met you at Greenthumb Nursery on Sheldon. So you hook up with them, maybe they'll have you over as a guest.
I hope they will. Thanks for being with us.
Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Stay with us as the Plant Talk continues.
Biophilia, our innate attraction to other living things. It's why people love plants. And around Tampa Bay, Plants, that's Plantz, is bringing nature inside in workspaces and homes by delivering beautiful foliage plants. Our plants increase oxygen and filter out pollutants, reducing stress and improving productivity. And get you in touch with your biophilic side. Go to plantz.us.
Have you ever thought about auctioning your home?
And 30, 1 minute and 2 and 2 minute and 3 and 3 minute and 4 and 4 minute and 5 minute and 2 9 minute and 6 on 2 9 minute and 7
Remax Metro encourages you to auction your Florida real estate. Please go to aflre.com. That's A for auction, FL for Florida, and RE for real estate. We achieve full market value for your home. Tired of paying real estate commissions? How about 0% commission for sellers? That's right, sellers pay 0% commission. Again, go aflre.com. That's Auction Florida Real Estate. That's aflre.com.
Utzi Tree Service, that's YUTZY, is singularly focused on complete customer satisfaction and has been for almost 50 years. From initial contact to service completion, UtziTreeService.com will prove that you have hired the best tree care service available. With the most knowledgeable staff and the most advanced equipment, you can be sure that UtziTreeService.com is the most professional tree care company in the Tampa Bay area. Contact UtziTreeService.com today for the highest quality tree care.
Thinking of buying a home or refinancing your mortgage? Don't settle for limited loan options. And don't waste your time calling all over town just to compare rates. Skip all the hassle and connect with Matto Mortgage Advisors instead. Matto Mortgage Advisors home loan experts offer a wide variety of mortgage products, and they'll help you compare rates and loan terms in one convenient location. Visit MattoMortgage.com or call 727-202-5626. Matto Mortgage Advisors, NMLS 1744233. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed. Equal housing opportunity.
As the will of the students goes, so goes the will of the nation. This is the central theme of Return to the Hiding Place. the film about Corrie ten Boom and her secret army of teenagers' heroic efforts to hide and save Jews from the Nazis during World War II. Corrie's story was made famous by her book and original movie produced by the Billy Graham Association. 45 years later comes Return to the Hiding Place, the untold behind-the-scenes true story of Corrie's secret army of student teenagers' efforts to rescue Jewish people. Told by Hans Poley, one of Corrie's teens in the Resistance, Return to the Hiding Place is an action-packed film of the Dutch Underground's true, breathtaking rescue of an entire orphanage of Jewish children. Return to the Hiding Place, starring John Rhys Davies. Watch this captivating film tonight with your older children at salemnow.com and save 20% with the promo code TAMPA. Return to the Hiding Place at salemnow.com, promo code TAMPA. Due to historical content, might not be suitable for younger audiences.
Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Greenthumb and Real Estate Show. Connect online at askmrgreenthumb.com. Got questions on gardening, real estate, or both? Call now, 813-289-1860. Toll free, 877-969-8600. And now, your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And we're here to help you with your plant problems. We've got Steve Stanford in there. He does have his Gator Cup. I was thinking of Marcus, our new best buddy at the Metro.
At Remax Metro, yeah, he loves his Gators. Go Gators.
Yeah, he's actually a Florida Stater, but we didn't hold that against him. He's a great guy.
Well, come on.
Even in spite.
Only one of them is a land-grant university. I mean, so it's a great agricultural foundation at the University of Florida. And go Gators.
That's right.
There you go.
Go Gators. That's right.
I told him I worked for IFAS for 8 years. Worked with, the old Grand Gil Whitten. And I worked with him. People of the old school remember I worked every day with Gil for 8 years, where I learned a lot. He was very knowledgeable. Used to kill me sometimes. He wanted you normally going out and doing home calls with a tie on. Now, in the middle of July or August, he'd want you with a tie on. So often most of us would wind up, we'd have our tie on in the office. We'd take it off as soon as we got in the vehicle, and we'd throw it back on as soon as we came back into the office. But,
say, hey, I'm Mr. Greenthumb, not Mr. Two Bits.
Oh, it's, now you're going back to a Florida reference there.
Mr. Two Bits, yeah.
That's right. But we went back. I went back and forth to Gainesville, I guess, for about 8 years. I'd go up there every year they'd have, the PhD boys would tell us what was the greatest and latest in whatever it may be, in lawns, trees, shrubs, indoor plants, and that was always fun. I mean, I enjoyed going back and forth, and anyway, that was part of my life that I enjoyed going to Gainesville.
Sure. Now, Steve, I have a question for you. In all the plants that you ship, what is your personal favorite that you got to have a soft spot in your heart for the plants? Something, one of them has to speak to you. And which family or group would you put down as your favorite?
I got a few, but my favorite is it's Dracaena.
Okay.
It's called a Reflexa, and it's cultured in a tree form by a grower out of Homestead called Farm Life. And Farm Life Nurseries. So we deal with a limited number of growers down there, so we understand their practices and can stand behind what they're doing and understand their soils and all that. So this family operation is just one of the top operations in the state and in the country.
And what was the name of it again?
It's a Dracaena Reflexa.
Okay, but the grower that grows
Farm Life.
Farm Life.
And what does it look like, this Dracaena?
Geez.
Because Dracaenas can look. There's a number of different kinds
of
Dracaenas.
You're familiar. You've got the marginatas, the JCs, long strap-like leaves. This is a very short, stubby leaf. So there's a lot more leaves on a single plant, but it's just a very cool looking, versatile plant, and it looks a bit contemporary. It's
nice,
just spiky.
Yeah,
spiky. All right.
Yeah, because one of the things I'll do later is I'll put a photo up and I'll put it into the video, because we always record these shows, in not just in terms of the radio but also on video. So I can in post production I'll put a little picture of this plant. I'll probably, with your permission, take it right off of your website, because I know you have one up.
That's fine. I mean, people are still crazy about the Ficus lyrata, the fiddle leaf fig. Big giant leaves. Designers, architects love them. But yeah, you get something with a little bit different texture. The Reflex is awesome.
Awesome. Okay.
Awesome plant.
And you guys, I mean, professionally, you guys do the maintenance on these types of plants. What is the big concern that you have when people unbox these plants? They've got them in the, they've made sure to take the time to watch your videos. Let's assume that they're doing that. But, so they've got to make sure they have it in the right location in their home. They've got to make sure that it's getting the right amount of light level. But outside of that, what is something that you see or get a lot of calls from saying, "Hey, I'm having this kind of problem. What do I need to do?" What do you hear?
Yep. Also, I've got Maureen I need to go to too as well.
Okay.
Let's go to Maureen, and then
I don't have that on my.
They give Steve enough time to think about his answer.
Sure.
Maureen, you've got a question in Newport Richie, and I guess maybe it's carpet grass.
No, Podocarpus.
Oh,
Podocarpus.
Oh, okay, Podocarpus, Podo, which is meaning foot. And so he had Podocarpus. So, okay, well, close enough.
Hey, you should have gotten it from that.
Yeah, he just sometimes, Ken likes to stump the star, and he puts something up there. And,
it was close.
So what's going on with your Podocarpus?
Well, they're fairly new, and I've noticed that the edge of the leaves are getting like a silvery gray look to them. And a lot of times when they do that, then the leaf starts turning a rusty color. And it will deteriorate from there sometimes. Sometimes I can pull the leaves off and it will be all right. But I'm just wondering if it's a fungus or...
Could be. Podocarpus, I worry about root problems. We talk about water. It can be a problem, especially in new ones. They can't get too wet, and they can't get too dry. Too wet, kind of like Steve was talking about, the biggest killer of indoor plants is overwatering. And Podocarpus, too, if they sit in water for a day or two, you can get into a root fungus, which can kill the Podocarpus. Now, to me, I like Podocarpus. To me, it's the aristocrat of hedges. It's nice. It's yew, sometimes called. It has a real nice long leaf. It's nice and thick. It makes a really nice thick hedge, and that's where it's probably used the most. And you can go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Maureen, is your Podocarpus, is it in full sun, or you got it in the shade?
Full sun.
Full sun,
that's
they'll
good.
like that. Yeah, you can develop a nice tight hedge in the full sun. Any thrips? You seen any insect activity on it?
No.
No?
Okay. You might take a hand lens and look over the plant, too. When you talked about fungus, sometimes you'll see like a spotting in the leaf. They also do get aphids. They get aphids on occasion, and they'll be kind of blue-green. They're hard to detect on the Podocarpus because the aphid will look exactly the same color as the Podocarpus. They suck that sap. And since aphids have like a little tiny body, they tend to look, if that's the case, sometimes just some neem oil or soapy water.
Any harm in just treating it, kind of prophylactically? Is there any harm there, or you guys don't recommend doing that?
I like to know you got a problem before we treat stuff.
Gotcha.
I mean, especially the way things have gone over the last few years. But...
well, the neem oil is pretty safe, right? I mean, that's not
neem oil would be safe. You could take a picture of it and send it to us. Where can
you can do it? You can do it one of two ways. One, you can go to AskMrGreenthumb.com, or you can go to Stan's Facebook page, which is also Ask Mr. Greenthumb. You don't need the .com for that, and you could submit a photo to us on our Facebook group. That's a great way that people have been communicating with us, and we usually, we're not instantaneous, but the price is right.
Exactly. You might take a picture, a close-up of the foliage, and maybe a farther away one. And I'm sure you probably have a camera that you can send us a picture from, or you have someone who does have a camera phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So if you send me a picture, we can talk about it next week if I can see it. Sometimes, the more we can see something, the better. Maureen, we thank you for the call. Send us a picture. Steve, of course, I want to get back to you on what was our last question we had for Steve?
I was just kind of asking him, when people get their plants, and what is the number one issue that you see outside of, making sure that it's in the right spot when they open it up? Watering. Okay, so that's a good point to mention, is that's, and again, you guys, are you still shipping the soil sleuths with each one, or it's an add-on kind of thing? Or
it's an add-on.
It's an add-on.
It's one of those things that we highly encourage.
Right.
So
yeah,
sometimes we'll run specials and run the soil sleuth as a little bonus, but
sure.
It's again, I'll stand behind it. It's an indispensable tool for anyone maintaining plants inside.
Do you ever have people, Steve, that say, "Hey, I want to send a plant for somebody's birthday or somebody's anniversary"?
The gift plant, Stan. Yes, yeah, we do it all the time. But there's a it's tough. It's tough. You want to have a big plant and you want to give it to somebody, and their interest in maintaining the plant may not be as high as the gift giver. So
Sure.
But it's a great gesture, and it makes an impact in any room. So we just got to make sure that we get to the end user.
Absolutely.
So any office out there, restaurant that needs...
Right. Remember to definitely get a hold of Steve Stanford with plants at plantz.us. What a great guest you were today, Steve. We really appreciate
Thanks,
you
guys.
coming in today.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
And we want to say next week we'll be here again, so tell your neighbors and friends about our show here on AM 860 The Answer.
Thank you, everybody.